G'day listeners, welcome to the next big thing again, and it is my proud privilege to introduce our guest today. She's joining us all the way from LA and she's made some time for us. Thank you so much. So please welcome virtuoso guitarist, singer, songwriter. She's composed for film and TV and she also coaches people. She is a top 50 acoustic guitarist as produced by Guitar Player in 2017. Wow, it is indeed a privilege to welcome the Janet Robin onto the show. Janet, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. That's quite, I have to live up to all of that, man. That's quite an introduction. My mother would be very proud.
I'm sure she would be. And you've had such a glittering career. It was actually a challenge to, say that in one sentence. So thank you.
Thank you. You did a great job. Impressive.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're gonna talk a lot about the guitar, and I can see two wonderful guitars in the background. Two? Yeah, is that more? No, that's two. All right.
Yeah, those are just two of my 27.
Two of your 27. Wow, that would have made for a great fact. You could have confounded me there. All right, 27 guitars. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about them. And but as you know, on the next big thing, what we do is the guest comes on board and shares two things about themselves. One is factual, one is made up stuff, right? Fiction, a figment of your imagination. But I don't know which one's which. So, Janet, are you ready to play some poker?
Yeah, now you're putting me on the spot. Okay.
I am.
So does it matter which one? It doesn't matter. I just say two things.
Two things. And your job here is to confuse me, confound me, and make it challenging.
Okay.
For me.
Okay. And I just say what it is.
Yeah, just reel them off in any order. Number one, number two.
All right. Number one. I don't read music.
Okay. And number two?
Number two is, hold on, I gotta think about number two. Number two is, I have been to India. In your honor.
First one is very, very hard to believe because it's a very, it's an unlikely thing, right? With someone, professional, accomplished, award-winning guitarist to not read music. Interestingly, I don't either. But I don't know if it's fact. I'm thinking that's fact. I'm thinking that's fact, but I am wondering if you threw a real nice curveball at me. So India, yeah, okay. We talked about my Indian background in the beginning. And you did say you come to Australia. You didn't say you'd been to India. And I find it hard to believe that you or the String Revolution would not have performed in India, though. That's like a huge market waiting. Okay, I'm going to trust my gut here. I'm going to say that you don't read music as a fact, and India is that you don't read music as a fact, and the other is fiction. You have been to India, but you said you don't. Right? So first one is fact.
First one is a fact. I do not read.
Wow.
Yeah, I do. I started when I was real young, a little bit, and then once I got into rock and roll.
Woo! And India, so you've been, right?
I have not.
You've not?
I have not, and I've always wanted to go.
Woo! Okay, this can be easily fixed. India is such
I would say Australia and Dubai is the closest that I've gotten to India.
No, Australia is far. Dubai is close.
Dubai is closer than Australia, but
it certainly is.
Away from
the States. Oh, India is so big on anything music, but they love their rock and roll. They love their guitars.
I have literally traveled, extensively, forever, and that's one country I've never been to.
On your big map, there's no pin on India. Oh, well, I hope. Here's hoping.
Yeah, there's a pin in my brain to go there. But yeah, we would love to go there. I think they would really appreciate the guitar playing and all that stuff. So
the kind of music that I grew up listening to was a lot of film music. So I mean, you can say Bollywood is probably a loose term to describe it, but it's film music.
Yeah,
and
that's huge there. Bollywood is huge.
Bollywood is huge. Film music is huge. I mean, there's many film industries in India, and one of them is Bollywood. So, but and I grew up listening to a lot of them, so India is big on that. India is big on classical music. India is huge on rock and roll. There's an insatiable appetite for music. So here's hoping on this podcast, let's manifest this, that you travel.
I would love to.
Yeah. Maybe.
Because I will I'll basically just eat my way through the country is what's going to happen.
That's it. Yeah, speaking my language. Oh man, India.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Indian food, so good, indeed. And so here's.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, this is just a casual conversation. So
yes, here's hoping I get to
India and maybe holding a Grammy in your hand. Yeah, from this year.
Oh, those are great. Two great manifestations. Maybe the second one first, and then
that's right.
India second. No offense.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
Okay, fantastic.
Great manifestation.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do. Ever since I got in, I got the nod from the Recording Academy this year. I wake up every morning, fine tuning my speech. But not
it's a testament to dreams come true. But if you don't dream it and you don't sort of work towards it and wake up, like you say, every day, just focus, nothing's going to happen. Yeah, dreaming about it, that's cool.
Yeah,
but it's not quite enough.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Good.
You still have to like in order to manifest. You've got to work a little harder at it, not overwork though.
Yeah, indeed. No, love it. Okay, I'm intrigued by your 27 guitars. Let's talk about your 27 guitars. Across how many years? And when you go to perform, how do you choose one of your 27 babies?
Oh yeah, those are all very simple answers. So it's my 51st anniversary, 51 years of playing guitar. Woo! So I just turned 57, and I started when I was around 6. So that's a long time playing guitar. And so I've collected or bought or how people have given me guitars. However, I've gotten all these different guitars that I try really hard to not have duplicates. However, my Taylor, like for example, this Taylor, they don't make this one anymore. It's called a DCSM. It's from the 90s. And I love it so much that I bought, I have 3 of those because I did break the neck on one once, and I was like, oh my God, so I do. That's the only one I have that's duplicates, although there are all 3 of them are from different years. So they're not quite duplicates.
Right.
And the other ones, the way I look at them, they're in families. They're either in a Fender family or a Gibson family, right? Or they're in an electric guitar type of family, or they're in an acoustic, kind of family. So I have, 12-string mandolin. We call it a mandotar. I've got a 6-string banjo. So it sounds like a banjo, but I play like a guitar, much easier. Yeah, I've got the Les Pauls, the Strats, the Tellys. Yeah, all kinds of unique things. So
I know.
So you asked me, like, how do I decide? That's actually not too hard. When I'm doing a session, sometimes I will ask the artist or the producer, what are you hearing? You hearing a Telly, Strat, and typically I'll get an answer, so I'll know right away. If they're like, whatever you feel, my go-to is my Telly, which is it's in the other room.
Right.
That's my 52 reissue Telecaster. And then my go-to acoustic would be my Taylor that I just showed you.
Nice.
And those
sounded so good.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, those are typically the ones I take on the road, and those are the ones I use for my own stuff. But I have all the other instruments because, again, sometimes there's a recording I'm playing on, or somebody hires me for something, or it's something for the String Revolution where we need a particular sound, you know.
Yeah.
And then I whip out whatever. I got to have my tools. So you know, you think of yourself as an artist, and that's the other thing I do tell people when they ask me advice, you know, it's really tough, you know, but if you can try to scrape the money together, try to buy the best instruments you can, at least at the time. And no, that's not always possible, but for example, if you really want, you know, that Les Paul, you know, that's made in America, you know, nothing against it being made in another country, and it's just like really so expensive, you know, new. Well, think out of the box, you know, go buy a used one, right? Maybe it'll be scratched up and this and that or whatever. Or if you can't afford it, trade something and some, you know, and the reason is you want to have good tools that last a long time, because I mean, the Les Paul I have two Les Pauls, but the one I have is from 1978, you know, and I've had it since I was 11.
Okay, so that's an interesting thing, because I really want to know the first guitar you played and bought. Is that one of the 27? Is that still there?
So the first guitar I ever played and bought looked exactly like this Strat. It was a 77 white Fender Stratocaster, and I was begging my parents for it. And again, you know, they didn't want to spend all this money, and, you know, and my uncle is in the sound business, and he knew somebody at the Fender factory, and he's like, I think I can get you a deal, you know, on the guitar and a little amp. And so this was when Fender had a little, not little, but they had a factory closer to Los Angeles. Now it's like about an hour away from here. And so he hooked it up, and I was 9 or something.
Okay. 9. Okay.
Wow. Yeah, because prior to that, I was borrowing my brother's electric guitar for lessons. And then I was like, I don't want to keep borrowing his guitar. I want my own, you know?
Of course. So, I want my own toy.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, they could tell I was really serious about it. I was practicing. I had already taken several by then I was already, you know, 3 or 4 years into it, right? So my uncle made it happen, got a good deal. And that guitar ended up getting stolen out of my mom's car. Long story, but yeah. But we were able to take the insurance from the car, you know, that covers like personal property in your car, because they didn't hurt the car, but it happened to cover personal property. So they got money from the insurance. And then they set me up with, again, my uncle knew somebody at Guitar Center out in Hollywood when it was a tiny little store. And I was begging, I was like, well, I can't get this guitar, so I don't want to get it again. I want a Les Paul, because my teacher, Randy Rhoads, who's a very famous guitarist, had a Les Paul, and I just started taking lessons from him. So again, my uncle hooked me up with a deal. We took the insurance money, and I got the 1978 black Les Paul Custom, which is the one I still have. I'd get it out for you, but it's in the closet.
Oh, good. Wow, that is fascinating. Well, whoever took the guitar, hopefully they're a guitarist and they did something good with it.
Somebody out there has my 1977 Fender Strat, and
if you're listening now.
I cried. I remember I felt like my world fell apart. I was so dramatic, you know. But it really was like my friend, you know. I took I was young, but it took me a long time to find out like what my thing was, like my hobby. My brothers, I was very much in competition with my brothers. They were, you know, playing sports, they were doing karate, they were, you know, all those things that you try when you're a kid. Yeah. And I wasn't good at any of those things. I sucked, you know, and I was like, well, what am I going to do? You know, and my brother started taking guitar lessons. And then my mom was like, oh, I'm going to try it. And I thought, oh, my mom's going to try it, you know? So I was like, well, I'm going to try it. And then it was just like, the minute I got the guitar in my hands, I don't know, it just clicked. Like I felt like, because I had tried like clarinet and stuff in elementary school. You know, I didn't have a connection to clarinet, nothing against clarinet, but just felt, I really liked the intricacies of the strings. I liked the fact you're using two hands, the way it felt, just the multi-use of the coordination of using left and right and the whole, I just liked it. Plus it was like badass cool, you know, because I saw all the posters in my brother's room of like Jimmy Page and Jimi Hendrix and, you know, and I was like, oh, I want to be cool like that, you know.
Oh, legends, absolutely. And you absolutely are. So 51 years later, I'm sure, you know, you're looking back going, good decision. So
I think it was, you know, I followed my heart. And I was really lucky to have parents that supported me in that decision, because that's not always the case for people.
No, it's not. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And it's not easy on them either. I mean, you know, on parents, when I was chasing music early on, and then when with my spouse, you know, it's hard on them. Especially, yeah. Okay, so fantastic. Okay, so where brother and mother, are they still you know, guitar, they still love the guitar? Do they come support you?
My brother is now a dentist like my dad.
Oh.
My dad passed away a couple of years ago, but
right.
you know, I don't know, he lost interest. He kept it going through high school, but I was surpassing him.
Yeah, of course you were.
Yeah, I got really obsessed with it, you know, and he got more obsessed with girls and, you know, smoking pot or whatever he was doing, you know.
Fair enough.
So, and then he went on to, you know, college, and he just, his whole like focus changed. But no, he's very supportive and comes to my shows, and yeah.
Good stuff. You mentioned the string revolution, and you know, we have to spend lots of time talking about that. So take me back to the early days. How was it born? And then we'll talk about your latest project, you know, that it's submission.
Sure. Yeah. So, well, you know, I've been I've had a kind of a long career doing many different things. You know, I was in a metal band, all-girl metal band. Then I was a hired gun, and, you know, played with Lindsey Buckingham and Air Supply and all these. I did that, and then I did my own solo thing and was releasing DIY. You know, releasing all my CDs and touring around the world. Frankly, you know, internationally. And then I you know, I was having fun doing that, but I was sort of like, God, you know, I really want to focus more on the guitar, even though the guitar was focused in my shows much more than my singing, for example. But I also ran into an issue with my singing. I had surgery on my vocal cords from, you know, just singing wrong and for years, and God knows what else I was shouting, you know, to whatever, right? And it was a struggle. I had some issues vocally, and I was thinking, you know, I should just try another project. Just, I could keep doing this, and I still love writing songs, and I still love singing, but I wanted to try like a side project, you know. And I got the idea from when I was with Lindsey Buckingham from Fleetwood Mac. When I was in his band, it was a 10-piece band, and he had 5 guitar players. And, you know, it was orchestrated, basically. We would play, because he has known for like really intricate guitar parts on his solo records. And so we were playing parts, you know, separate parts from, you know, songs. And it was all just so, you know, smoothly put together. It was just an amazing experience. It really changed my whole outlook on guitar and how to sort of orchestrate multiple guitars, rather than just your typical, let's double the rock and roll part and put a lead guitar, you know, which was totally cool. But so that changed my whole thing and my whole landscape on guitar. And I thought, you know what, maybe I should do some kind of instrumental thing. It'll relieve the stress a little bit of the singing, and it'll really showcase really what I'm most strong at, which is guitar, you know. And I thought, well, I'm not going to put together a 5-piece guitar, you know. We started out as a 4-piece. We are now a trio. And I wanted to experiment using the guitar in percussive ways and try to make it sound like a band, but without a singer. So, because I've seen instrumental guitar, you know, groups before, and there's a lot of, it's not every group, but there's a lot of noodling where it's just like, you know, and I'm like, okay, well, where's the song? You know, like you're losing the song just because it's an instrumental guitar doesn't mean there's not a melody. And so all of our songs, the String Revolution songs, whether they're original or covers, you can hear a melody just as if we had a singer. And that's how we approach our arrangements. But I literally put an ad on in a paper. It's an online paper called Craigslist. I know a ton of musicians in LA. I've born here and, you know, been in the business, but I honestly wanted to meet new people. And that was actually what happened with Lindsey. He didn't want to work with session players either. He wanted to work with new upcoming players. And so I wanted to do the same thing. And so I just put an ad out, you know, and these guys answered and not one woman answered. Not one girl. Shocking, not shocking. But yeah, I found these guys and we clicked and, you know, the String Revolution was born.
I was going to ask you about the revolution. The string one part is obvious, but I can see so many, you know, revolutions that you've managed.
And it has gone on. It was 2 years ago, we had a new revolution. One guy had to move back to Europe. And the other guy left because he really wanted to focus on production. He opened his own recording studio. And Marcus and I, Marcus Ilko, we were both, you know, we're like, okay, well, we don't want to be a duo. Maybe we try doing trio, you know? And again, I went to the internet and went on this like online classifieds thing. Got so lucky. I literally was going to shut down the website when I was like, I'll go with one more page, click. And this guy, Robert
Lewis,
and he's you know, Latino, and he didn't have a website, he didn't have shit, he had nothing, he had Instagram. So I went to his Instagram and he had like 2 videos with like 3 followers, you know. But the videos, oh my god, he was just like he was like, you know, finger picking and he was doing it all, and I was like, okay, wait a minute here, you know? So I literally just DM'd him on Instagram and then we Zoomed. He had just moved from Cuba with his family as a little girl and a wife, and they had just moved here. You know, it was in the middle of COVID and he was working at like a factory downtown. And I'm like, dude, you got to join the band. And, you know, I sent him the stuff and he loved it. And so we had to rearrange, you know, a lot of the songs for a trio, but it was fun to do that. And he's an amazing, like very versatile player. He fills the spots of genres of playing that, you know, perhaps aren't Marcus's and myself's strong points. And so Marcus is very classically trained, you know, he plays on nylon like that. He comes from, you know, Vienna, you know, and he's got that whole, he reads music, you know, and then there's me, I've got this like Randy Rhoads metal background, you know, rock and roll chick, you know, playing acoustic and electric. And then there's Robert, who just covers this really huge landscape, and knock on wood, you know, that's how we are. And where we are.
Fantastic, because I could see that and we'll talk about Folsom Prison Blues as well. I can see it coming through, the complementary skill sets that you guys bring, because it was together, it was very holistic, but it did not cut into each other's things, you know. I mean, I couldn't tell who was doing what, but it felt like very interesting complementary things.
You have to be so careful when you have multiple guitars. You know,
I can
and it has to be weaved together almost like a puzzle, right? It has to really fit. And then if you're talking about the cover that we did, Folsom Prison Blues, we wanted to have, last year we did Crazy Train, which was Randy Rhoads' song he made with Ozzy. And we had a special guest, Steve Stevens. He's the guitarist from Billy Idol's band. And that was great. And we just loved the whole collaboration of that. We thought, well, if we're going to do this song, let's get another guest again. And like a lot of things, we didn't know how it was all going to happen. And then you also have to be careful. Another guitar, four guitars. So in this case for Folsom Prison Blues, when you listen to it, it is mostly Tommy Emmanuel, the great from Australia, doing the melody. There's a couple of dueling melodies between Robert and Tommy. And I'm doing what I'm good at, laying down that rhythm and keeping that train going.
Nice.
You know, and then Marcus is inflecting some of these classical little arpeggio things and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. And you know, Robert was like tickled pink because he's like a huge Tommy fan.
Ooh, nice work. So how did you know? I mean, you took a Johnny Cash song, and how did that come about? And how did you get his son, John Carter Cash involved?
So in my previous incarnation as a solo artist, I had done 2 solo records already at Cash Cabin with John Carter Cash. And how that happened is for another podcast.
Sure.
But, you know, when we were thinking, let's do another cover, let's have a special guest. I just thought, you know, we should take this band to Cash Cabin. Let's get out of LA, you know, let's get out of LA. And Cash Cabin came in my head. I was like, we should just do a Johnny Cash song, you know? And years ago, my friend was asking me, Janet, why don't you cover Folsom Prison Blues? And I'm like, I don't know if that's not really my style. You know, I'm not really country, blah, blah, blah. And then she popped in my head. I'm like, we should just do that song. You know, now's my chance to sort of change the song up. And so I called John and we spoke and we were emailing and texting. He's like, I'm into it, man. You guys want to do it? He didn't ever hear of us before. I'd stayed in contact with him about my own stuff, but he said 3 guitars, you know, instrumental. Okay, Folsom. All right, you can do my dad's song. And then I was like, can we come and record there? Because that will even give it more like vibe. He's like, let's make it happen. And then we went through a multitude of guests. You know, we tried to get Bela Fleck. I don't know if you know who he is. He's a banjo player, and Billy Strings, who's really hot now on, you know, guitar. Everybody was busy or they couldn't do it, whatever reason. And I remembered, and this is literally, we were in Nashville like 2 days before the session. I remember Tommy lives in Nashville. And I had opened for him many years ago. And I was like, oh my God, you know, maybe we should reach out to him. He's never home. He's always on the road. And our manager, I looked on his website. I was like, well, he doesn't have the date of our session. So our manager contacted his manager, and, you know, the manager was like, you're probably not interested in doing this, but, you know, this band is, you know, recording at Cash Cabin with John Carter Cash and, you know, doing a version of Folsom. And Tommy's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I want to do it, you know? Yeah, sounds cool, you know? And so he's like, yeah, let's do it. And I don't even think he heard our demo. We did forward it to him, but he literally we finished our main parts. He showed up at like 3:00 in the afternoon. He came and laid his shit down, which was awesome. Sorry for my language, but
no, all good.
It's rock.
Yeah, it's fine.
Laid this amazing guitar stuff down. Yeah, fuck. You know, he did a couple of different takes so that we could have, you know, choices for editing. And then he was gone by like 5.
Bang, bang, bang.
It was like, yeah, phantom, you know? And when you look at the Folsom Prison Blues video, all that footage is just on my friend's iPhone that was helping out taking photos.
Right.
We weren't planning on using that in a music video. Wow. We just, you know, when the song was getting ready to be released, our manager was like, well, what's going on with the video? And we're like, what video? What are you talking about? What video?
So the video, you know, at the time was just taken for some behind the scenes, I'm guessing, and it
was taken for social.
Right.
Yeah, it was taken for social media content, you know, and photos and little snippets and you know, and so we're like, oh my God, we don't have any time, you know. So we got all this footage and we found this amazing young video editor out here in LA, sent it to him, and he worked his magic and you know, put it together, and you can kind of see the process of us going through putting the song together, and we made a little docu video out of it. But all of that is a Cash Cabin, and then there's some footage that was shot in our studio, you know, to just augment it. But yeah, that's how that whole thing came together. And we got home and we were listening to Tommy's parts and we're like, oh my God, it's all so good, all of it. We have to edit it. So Marcus and I spent hours, just like, well, what about that note? That note, that note. Yeah, I mean, so we did a lot of editing, as did John Carter. He did it too. He was doing it in Nashville. We were doing it here. We put it all together, and there was a lot of sweat and hard work put into that track.
You can see that. Yeah. Fantastic. And I have to ask, which one of your 27 guitars did you use on the track?
Oh, I used my Taylor, but it's not that Taylor, it's the other one.
Okay.
So that's a very good question too. I'm glad you asked that, because I used my Taylor, and then we were so, oh my God, so lucky. John Carter Cash was like, why don't you use my dad's Martin on this track?
Whoa.
And we're like, wait, what?
Oh.
And so Marcus played Johnny's Martin, which is like a 1930 something.
That is
so he used, astounding. And then we're literally done. It's like 9 o'clock at night. John's left, and we're just there with Trey, our engineer. We're packing up, and I was saying, that I would like to show the boys some of the guitars, that John Carter has stored in the vault, and he's like, oh yeah, I'll take you guys back there. So he's pulling out guitars. He's like, oh, by the way, here's Luther Perkins. Luther Perkins was Johnny Cash's guitar player for many years in the early years, right? And he's like, this is Luther Perkins' guitar. John Carter bought it from his wife when he died. And this guitar was actually used in the actual recording of Folsom.
Wow.
It's the Fender Esquire, 1959 or something like that. Esquire looks like a Telly kind of, right? And so we're like, wait, what? What did you just say? He's like, yeah, it was used in the recorded version, not the one at the prison, the actual recording.
Right. Yeah.
And we're like, well, we have to put this on the track.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's like, that's not hard to set up. Well, I'll plug it in, I'll get an amp, we'll mic it up, put your stuff down. And I was like, the part it would sound best on, because we're really known for acoustic guitar playing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The part that it would really sound good on would be that main lick where it's like, exactly. Yeah. And it's so that little part, that is on the original guitar that was used on the original Folsom recording. Just that one part. And that's the only part of the song where we have electric.
So Johnny Cash is well and truly there in spirit, It's like the original guitars.
Yes. And it had, it had to be quality, like everything had to be, because it was John Carter's dad.
Yeah, of course.
And I wanted to honor John Carter too, and I didn't want him to like do me a favor or anything like that. I wanted him to genuinely like it. And it really was like very touching when he said, this is sounding so good. This sounds so great. He's so happy with it. And that really, and I said, what about your dad? He's like, my dad would love this.
Golden words. Love it. Love it. No, I can see the blood, sweat, and maybe not tears, but I can see the effort that's gone into it. It really comes out, and I had a lot of fun listening to it and watching it. So thank you for putting it out there. I think it'll go far and wide. I really hope it does. And
I hope so too.
So Grammy submission, huh?
We have originals. So if people want to go to the stringrevolution.com, please listen to our originals as well. And we're going to be recording some new originals. But yes, we submitted Folsom for the Grammys.
Yes.
And we submitted for best arrangement, instrumental, or a cappella, that category. And we also have a secondary category, because not everybody can vote in the arrangement categories. The other category is best American Roots performance. The Grammys, it's a big world in the Grammys. We'll see what happens, but it's always an honor to first of all, be a voter, such as yourself.
Yes, no, thank
So
you.
I'm always thankful for that and grateful for that, because I never thought I would ever have anything to do with Grammys. And the second thing too is to be able to submit our work, and then it's up to the universe, you know.
Then it's up to the planets, the universe.
All we can do is
put it out there.
Yeah, just put our best. Yeah, put our best out there. But really, you know, honestly, in the end, it's all about just making art anyway. You know, it's like whether there's Grammy Awards or not, you got to keep it going.
And I told my wife that. I told my wife that best foot forward. And like when the news came, and I told you before we got on, I'm like, oh, what do I submit? I want to submit something. Like it's my first year, and I think I want to submit something. And I put out an album out this year. It was, and I wasn't completely happy with the entire album. There were certain songs that really worked for me. The others were like, let me add them. Let me just.
Okay.
So, and I thought this particular song, Nindia, which was born out of my mother experiencing the emptiness moment and me sort of reacting to it. And I thought that was the best song in the album. So I said, okay, best foot forward, I'll put the one track in. So
I like that. I like that song. I told you I heard it, and I love your voice, and it's so pure, and you can feel the emotion and connection you had.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So yeah, that's going on a global performance. So let's see what happens. But Grammy journey, what has been that? You've been there with the Academy for 8 years. You must have seen a lot of things change. What has the journey been like as a voting member?
I have. I think they're trying to do away with committees, which I think is a good thing. And they have condensed categories, or rather fields, and put more categories in one field. I think that's a good thing. I think Harvey Mason is doing a great job trying to keep it really fair and real. And I see a lot of independent artists really getting some recognition, which I think is great.
About time.
About time. And I know it's, probably to the dismay of maybe some major label people, but hey, we're out there busting our ass. Everybody's trying our best. But
I agree.
Grammys are a contest. Like I said, the most important thing is just to keep making good art and just keep getting out there and working hard.
100%. And you've been to the Grammys? What's that like?
Yes, I've been twice. It's really exciting and fun, and
chaotic, I've heard.
It's chaotic.
Like
because there's one ceremony. There is. So there's two ceremonies. There's one that you can only stream, and that happens early. That's like at 11 o'clock. And it actually has a lot of great, the global music performances in that, as well as the arrangement categories and like the rock performance, alternative rock. That's all in that one part of the Grammys that people don't see, right? Unless you stream it. And then all those people move to the big arena, and that's where the big show is. And a lot more people end up showing up for that ceremony. And so it's like all these like giant groups of people migrating from one theater to the next, and it's hectic, and there's no food to buy. And, by the time you're going to the main Grammy ceremony, you're like, oh my God, I need food. It's crazy. It's a little crazy. Yeah.
Yes, I've heard. Yeah. I want to experience crazy. So I intend to come this year.
You got to go.
Yeah.
Now you can't go.
So I want to go, regardless of what happens, with nomination and things. I've decided, told the Home Minister, I'm going. So yes, I do intend to do that.
Yeah,
so I'll hopefully see you.
Totally go. Yeah. I mean, I hope to go too, regardless of nominations or anything like that. It's always fun, and I live out here, and so it's.
No, good. I look forward to seeing you. And you've also done, a lot of work composing for film and TV. And I believe you worked on The Hateful Eight with Quentin Tarantino's movie as a coach.
I did, but on that one I was as a coach. Yeah, I was a guitar coach for Jennifer Jason Leigh,
who won an award for her performance.
She won an Academy Award.
You obviously coached her well.
Well, I tried. She didn't know anything about guitar. She had to learn a song and sing and play at the same time. She'd never done that before. And Quentin, if people know who Quentin is, he is a what do you call it? He wants it to look real, like
Yeah.
Like he wanted her to look like she'd been playing for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I gotta say she was dedicated. She
Yeah.
practiced all the time, every day, and I saw her nearly 7 days a week, a couple
Nice.
months in a row. Yeah,
Nice.
that was quite an experience. And then the other stuff, I've done short movies, short films, composed on guitar, and I would love to do more things like that. Though I love putting music to film. I have an acting background, and I love the combination. So
yeah. I love film and music as well. I don't have an acting background. I like to think I can act. My wife says there are many things you can do. Acting's not one of them. So
I haven't acted in years, but I appreciate the two genres coming together. And I mean, how can you watch a movie without music? It's tough.
And especially from where I come, we take it to the next level, and there are actually songs in the movies, and well, that's how we roll. So that's good fun. Okay, lovely. So now as much as I'd love to keep talking to you, and hopefully you stick around for a little bit of offline banter. I know you've got a next commitment coming on. But we'll come to the last question of the podcast.
Sure.
Right, and you've shared your wonderful journey, your inspiring journey, your stories. And the show is called The Next Big Thing, as you know, and the idea is to inspire the listener to become the next big thing in whatever field. But we talk a lot of music on this because, hey, I love it. So, and I'm calling, exactly. So I'm calling this entire segment the Grammy season on the show. So according to Janet Robin, what must one do, or what is the one must-have quality, one non-negotiable quality to become the next big thing?
Persistence. I would say that is the umbrella word, because under persistence comes, working hard, not giving up. You can't be lazy in this industry. I mean, there's so many people have come up to me that said, I loved playing music when I was younger, and I wish I had kept it going, and but I needed to make a living, or I got married, and this. I totally understand all of that, and there are some sacrifices if you're talking about being an artist. I've made some sacrifices. You have to be willing to do that. You have to want it bad enough. If you want it bad enough, you persist.
You will persist.
And and the next big thing, I mean, what's the next big thing? I think if you can make a living somehow by your art, you're a big thing.
You're a big thing, absolutely, 100%. I read somewhere on someone's WhatsApp, what is success? Doing what you love is success. And so
I mean, I know a lot of artists too who were very, very famous at one point in their life, and then nothing.
Fickle.
Just here and then so it's just really important, like you said, to love what you do, to always put your best foot forward, and the other thing is just keep open mind and keep learning. But that's also part of persistence. You got to just keep going, and I think I learned that from my dad, who's passed away a couple of years ago. But I was, like I said, lucky enough to have great parents, and they're like, just don't give up. If you give up, you'll never know. If you don't submit to the Grammys, you'll never know. If it's not important to you, then you don't have to do that. But if something's important to you and you like it and you want to keep moving forward in some kind of business or art form or something, you must keep going no matter what people tell you. No matter what people tell you. They could say you suck, Well, if you think you suck, then work on getting better.
But keep going.
Get lessons, get guitar lessons to do. Work with songwriters, and I mean, so that's what you got to do. You got to work hard. You can't be lazy, and you just persistence. So I hope that helps. I hope that inspires and helps people.
Well, it certainly inspires me, and I'm sure it'll inspire everyone listening. So thank you, Janet Robin, for sparing time. I know you're busy. Best wishes with your Grammy submission and all the other stuff that you have going on. Hopefully I'll see you soon in LA, and maybe I'll see you in Australia performing.
You never know. My brother lives out there, so you never know.
Cool stuff. All right, thanks again. And hopefully stick around. We'll have a quick chat offline as well. Thank you.
You got it. Bye.